The former brain surgeon was working as a janitor at the same hospital after losing his medical license. But that night, he couldn't stay silent when a child's life was in danger. Because Dr. Marcus Thompson, 20. Now he was walking down the same corridors with a cleaning cloth in his hand, until that night when he faced himself and his forgotten past came back to light. Welcome to One Human, One Story. Before we begin this inspiring story, if you've experienced such a miracle at an unexpected moment and believe that real miracle stories are worth sharing, please hit the subscribe button, because every person has a story, and every story matters. Dr. Marcus Thompson was once one of America's most respected military surgeons, working at Fort Bragg Military Hospital, performing the world's most difficult brain surgeries. But Marcus wasn't just a surgeon. He was also a war hero, having served in Afghanistan and Iraq, treating wounded soldiers on the battlefield and saving countless lives. Marcus's hands created miracles, not only on the operating table, but also on the battlefield. But sometimes, life brings even the strongest people to their knees. Marcus's world completely changed in 2018. That day, he was performing a routine brain tumor surgery. The patient was a 22-year-old young soldier, Jake Morrison. This young man was having surgery due to shrapnel fragments he received in his head. The surgery should have been routine. Marcus had done such operations thousands of times, but something went wrong that day during anesthesia. Jake's heart stopped. Marcus and his team immediately intervened, but they couldn't save Jake. The young soldier lost his life on the operating table for Marcus. This was a trauma, because Jake's father was also a retired soldier like him, and Marcus had promised Jake that he would send his son home safe and sound, but he couldn't keep his promise after Jake's death. Marcus collapsed. He couldn't sleep for days, didn't eat, blamed himself when the hospital administration investigated the incident. They found no fault in Marcus. Technically, everything had been done correctly, but Marcus couldn't forgive himself. One day, the hospital director called Marcus. "Marcus, you're a great surgeon, but your condition isn't good right now. You need to take a break." "No, sir. I'm fine. I can continue working." "Marcus, this isn't a suggestion. It's an order. You'll take 6 months leave and receive therapy." Marcus received therapy for 6 months, but the voices in his head wouldn't stop. He kept reliving Jake's final moments when he returned to the hospital. His hands started trembling. He couldn't concentrate during surgeries. He constantly thought about Jake. One day during another surgery, Marcus's hand trembled. Fortunately, he didn't make a big mistake, but the team noticed when the hospital administration evaluated the situation. They made a difficult decision. "Marcus, you won't be performing surgeries temporarily. You'll only provide consultation." For Marcus, this was very heavy, because a surgeon who couldn't operate was nothing. He felt useless and couldn't find a way out of this situation. Months passed. Marcus's condition got worse. He started drinking, fell into depression, and finally the worst incident happened. He came to the hospital drunk. The hospital director immediately relieved him of duty. "Marcus, I love you, but we can't continue like this. Your license is suspended. You need treatment." Marcus's world collapsed. His 25-year career suddenly ended. His license was taken away, and he was dismissed from the military hospital. Marcus received detox at a private clinic. He overcame his alcohol addiction, but his depression wouldn't go away. He felt completely lost for years. He had healed people. Now he couldn't heal himself. He also started having money problems because his retirement pension wasn't enough. One day while browsing the newspaper, he saw an advertisement. "Mercy General Hospital seeks cleaning staff." At first he didn't even think about it. But as days passed, his situation got worse. Finally, he applied. The HR manager Susan Martinez, who hired Marcus, didn't ask anything, just asked, "Is the night shift suitable?" Marcus said yes because he wanted to stay away from people at night. In 2019, Marcus started working as a night cleaning attendant at Mercy General Hospital. He had once performed surgery in the same hospital. Now he was sweeping the corridors. It was very painful, but he had to. Marcus worked the night shift. 11 o'clock p.m. to 7 o'clock a.m., the hospital was almost empty. Only the emergency room, intensive care, and nurses on duty were there. Marcus silently did his job, didn't talk to anyone. Most staff didn't know who he was. They just knew him as Uncle Marcus. Marcus followed the same routine every night. First cleaning the emergency room, then the operating rooms, then the corridors, and finally intensive care. But cleaning the operating rooms hurt him inside because he once created miracles on those tables. Now he was just cleaning blood for 6 months. Marcus maintained this routine. No one knew his past, and he didn't share it with anyone. He just did his job and went home. But everything changed that night. November 15th, 2019, Saturday night. Marcus had started his normal routine. He had cleaned the emergency room, finished the operating rooms. He was working in the corridors when he heard an ambulance siren. A new patient was coming to the emergency room. Marcus normally stayed away from such situations, but this time was different because the incoming patient was a small child, a 7-year-old girl. Emma Wilson had been in a car accident. She had serious trauma to her head and needed brain surgery urgently. Marcus stood by the emergency room door and listened. "Call the neurosurgery team immediately. I called Dr. Peterson, but he's not answering. Try Dr. Richards." "He's not answering either. It's Saturday night. They're all out of town." Marcus felt his heart racing because he understood the situation. Little Emma had bleeding in her brain and would die if not operated on immediately. But there was no one in the hospital who could perform neurosurgery. Marcus experienced indecision on one hand. The little girl's life was in danger on the other hand. He didn't have a medical license if he intervened. Both he and the hospital would face very big problems, but time was running out fast for Emma. Marcus heard the emergency room nurse talking on the phone. "Yes, I understand the nearest neurosurgery team is at St. Mary's, but it takes 30 minutes to get there." Marcus knew Emma couldn't wait 30 minutes because in brain hemorrhage cases, every minute was critical. Marcus hesitated one last time, then took a deep breath and entered the emergency room. Nurse Jennifer Lopez was surprised when she saw him. "Marcus, what are you doing here?" "Jennifer, I used to be a surgeon. This child needs immediate surgery." Jennifer looked with astonishment. "What do you mean, Marcus?" "I am Dr. Marcus Thompson, former military neurosurgeon. I can save this child, but I need your help." Jennifer froze for a moment, then looked at Emma. The girl was unconscious, and her condition was rapidly deteriorating. "Marcus, are you sure? Can you do it?" "Yes, but I have no guarantee, and this is very risky for both of us." Jennifer thought for a moment, then said, "Okay, what do I need to do?" Marcus immediately took action. "First, the operating room needs to be prepared, then call the anesthesia technician." "But Marcus, you don't have a license." "I know, but this child will die, and I can't allow that." Jennifer immediately grabbed the phone. Within 10 minutes, a small team was formed. Anesthesia technician Tom Martinez, operating room nurse Linda Chen, and of course Marcus. Marcus put on surgical clothes and looked in the mirror. He hadn't held a scalpel for 2 years. His hands were trembling. But he had to be strong for Emma when he entered the operating room. The team was ready. Emma was under anesthesia, and Marcus got to work when he made the first incision. His hand trembled, but then the surgeries he had done for years came back. His hands calmed. His mind cleared, as if he had never taken a break. He continued operating. He found the bleeding in Emma's brain and carefully stopped it. Then he reduced the pressure and repaired the damaged vessels. The surgery lasted 3 hours. Marcus worked with utmost concentration every minute. He made no mistakes. Finally, the surgery was completed successfully. Emma's vital signs became stable when Marcus finished the surgery. He was exhausted from fatigue, but at the same time, he experienced a satisfaction he hadn't felt for 2 years. He had saved someone's life again. Jennifer approached Marcus. "Marcus, it was an incredible surgery. How is Emma? She's stable. She's expected to wake up by tomorrow morning." Marcus smiled, but was also worried because what he did was against the law. The next morning, hospital director Dr. Sarah Williams learned about the situation. She called Marcus to her office. "Marcus, we need to talk." When Marcus entered the office, Dr. Williams was sitting behind her desk, looking serious. "Marcus, are you aware of what you did last night?" "Yes, Dr. Williams. You are a doctor with a suspended license and you work here as a cleaning attendant. You had no right to perform surgery." "I know, but that child was going to die." "That doesn't matter, Marcus. We have to follow the rules." Marcus expected this reaction, but he wasn't sorry for saving Emma's life. "Dr. Williams, I made a mistake, but I'm satisfied with the result. Emma is alive. Marcus, I have to fire you, and I have to report this situation to the authorities." Marcus bowed his head. "I understand, Dr. Williams." But then there was a knock on the door. Jennifer entered. "Dr. Williams, Emma woke up and her family wants to talk to you." Dr. Williams looked at Marcus. "Okay, but this conversation isn't over, Marcus." When they went to Emma's room, the little girl was awake and her family was by her side. Emma's mother, Sarah Wilson, was crying. "Dr. Williams, this man saved my daughter's life." Emma's father, Mike Wilson, was also there. "We prayed all night for Emma's recovery, and this man saved her." Dr. Williams explained the situation. "Mr. and Mrs. Wilson, Marcus really did save your daughter, but the situation is complicated." Sarah Wilson approached Marcus and held his hands. "Who are you? How can I thank you?" Marcus's eyes filled with tears. "I just did what was right, Mrs. Wilson. Emma is a strong girl. She'll recover very quickly." At that moment, Emma spoke in a weak voice. "Thank you, Dr. Uncle." Tears streamed from Marcus's eyes because he hadn't felt this valuable for a long time. But this happiness didn't last long because the hospital administration had to report the situation a week later. Marcus went to court. He was tried for practicing medicine without a license. But something unexpected happened in the hearing. Emma's family had come to support Marcus. Also, hospital staff had come to testify in his favor. Jennifer spoke in court. Marcus Thompson risked himself to save a girl's life. He had no material expectation. He did it just because he was human. Anesthesia technician Tom also spoke. "I worked with him that night, and I can say that Marcus is a real doctor. He was born to save lives." But the most effective speech was made by Emma's father, Mike Wilson. "Your Honor, my daughter was dying and this man saved her. He may have broken the rules, but he saved my daughter's life. This man is a hero." The judge evaluated the situation. Marcus had technically committed a crime, but the extraordinary nature of the situation was also evident. Finally, the judge gave his decision. "Mr. Thompson, what you did is technically against the law, but the moral aspect of what you did is very strong. I sentence you to 2 years probation, but you have the right to petition for the return of your medical license." Marcus's lawyer immediately filed a petition, and something they didn't expect happened. The medical board examined Marcus's situation and 6 months later returned his license conditionally. The condition was this: Marcus would receive therapy again and would work under supervision for a while. Marcus started therapy, and this time he was much more determined because now he had a purpose in life. He wanted to be a surgeon again, and Emma had shown him that this was possible. Therapist Dr. Amanda Rodriguez was a very experienced psychologist. "Marcus, you must understand the trauma you experienced in the past. Jake's death was not your fault. But I couldn't save him. Marcus, you're not God. You can't save every patient, but the patients you can save define you." In these sessions, Marcus slowly learned to forgive himself. He understood that he wasn't responsible for Jake's death and believed that he could operate again 6 months later. Mercy General Hospital rehired Marcus, but this time he would work as a surgeon when Dr. Williams called Marcus to her office. They had a very different conversation. "Marcus, we want you back as a surgeon, but initially you'll work under supervision." "Thank you, Dr. Williams. I'll work hard to deserve this." "You already deserved it, Marcus. The night you saved Emma, you proved it." Marcus started performing surgery again at Mercy General. His first surgeries were under supervision, but they were very successful. His hands no longer trembled. His mind worked clearly. Jake's ghost was still in his head, but it no longer hindered him. On the contrary, it led him to be more careful. A year later, Marcus moved to independent surgery and started performing very successful operations. He regained the respect of his colleagues, but most importantly, he was still in touch with Emma. The little girl had completely recovered, and Marcus checked on her every month. Every time Emma came, she made Marcus very happy because she symbolized his second chance in life. But something else changed in Marcus's life. He had grown close to Jennifer Lopez, whom he met when he was working as a cleaning attendant. Jennifer was the only person who believed Marcus could get better, and a friendship first. Then love developed between them. Jennifer was also a divorced nurse and could understand Marcus's past. The two supported each other and formed a strong couple together. One day, Marcus proposed to Jennifer. "Jennifer, you gave me a reason to live. Will you marry me?" Jennifer said yes, and they got married. Emma and her family were also at their wedding. Marcus's old military friends also came. The ceremony was simple but meaningful because they were both experiencing a second chance in life. After marriage, Marcus and Jennifer started living a very happy life together. Marcus had learned to trust himself again. He was no longer a prisoner of the past, but he hadn't forgotten Jake. On the contrary, he carried his memory with him in every surgery. Marcus had now become one of Mercy General's most successful surgeons. He was responsible for both general surgery and neurosurgery. He trained young doctors and taught them not only medical knowledge, but also empathy. A surgeon must use not only his hands, but also his heart. He would say, "Sometimes we may lose our patients, but this doesn't mean we should stop trying to save them." Marcus's story had become a legend among hospital staff. He was known as the man who went from cleaning attendant to doctor. But Marcus didn't care about this because the important thing was healing people. Emma continued to visit him regularly. She was now 10 years old and very healthy. She said she wanted to become a doctor when she went to school. Marcus told her, "You can be a good doctor, Emma. But remember, the most important thing is wanting to help sick people." Emma replied, "Uncle Marcus, you are my hero. I want to work with you when I grow up." Marcus loved Emma like a daughter because she was the symbol of his second chance, the turning point of his life. Marcus's story wasn't just a personal success story. It was also an example showing the power of second chances in his life. Marcus had hit rock bottom, lost everything, but he hadn't given up. He had risked himself to save a child's life. And this action had changed his life. Marcus now told young doctors this: no matter how much life knocks you down, never give up because there's always a second chance. Sometimes that chance comes at a very unexpected moment. One day, Emma's father, Mike Wilson, came to visit Marcus. "Dr. Thompson, how can I repay what you did for Emma?" Marcus smiled. Mr. Wilson, Emma's being healthy is the greatest reward for me. Besides, Emma did more for me than I did for her. What do you mean? Emma reminded me that I could be a doctor again. She gave me a second chance, actually, while saving her. I saved myself, too. As Marcus and Jennifer's marriage grew stronger, they both started doing very beautiful projects together. They established a patient rights protection association. They ensured that patients who were not in good financial condition received treatment. They also created scholarship programs for medical students because they both believed in the power of second chances. Marcus's story appeared in local newspapers, then became news in the national press. But Marcus preferred to stay away from the media. "My goal is not to be in the news, but to heal people," he said. But still, his story inspired many people, especially people facing difficulties in life. Drew strength from Marcus's example. On Emma's 12th birthday, Marcus and Jennifer went to visit her. Emma had grown a lot and still said she wanted to become a doctor. "Uncle Marcus, when I grow up, I'll be a brain surgeon and help people like you." Marcus stroked Emma's head. "You are a very special girl, Emma, and I'm sure you'll be a great doctor. You are my role model, Uncle Marcus. You were once a cleaning attendant, but you never gave up." Marcus looked at Emma. "Emma, sometimes life takes you to the most unexpected places, but the important thing is never losing your heart. There's always a way out of every difficult situation." That evening on the way home, Jennifer said to Marcus, "You were very happy talking to Emma today." Marcus replied, "Yes, because Emma reminds me that everything is possible. I once risked everything for a girl her age, and this changed my life." "You didn't just save her life, you saved your own life, too." Marcus squeezed Jennifer's hand. "And I met you. This was the most beautiful part of this adventure." They both smiled at each other because life had given them second chances, and they had made the best use of these chances. Marcus had now become the assistant chief of medicine at Mercy General Hospital and had undertaken even greater responsibilities. He loved training young doctors very much because he could see his own past in them. "Don't think that your mistakes define you," he would tell them. "If you can learn from your mistakes, you become a better doctor." Marcus's words weren't just professional, they were also about life. Marcus had now made peace with Jake's death. He carried his memory with him in every surgery, but this time, as a strengthening memory one day, he received a letter from an old patient relative. The letter came from Jake Morrison's father, Dr. Thompson. "I learned what you experienced after my son's surgery. I know you felt guilty, but I want you to know that we never blamed you. Jake had great respect for you, and I'm sure his soul is at peace now, because you became a stronger doctor after his death and helped more people." This letter was very meaningful for Marcus, because he lost the last piece of guilt. He had completely made peace with the past in the 3rd year of Marcus and Jennifer's marriage. Emma turned 15 and still wanted to become a doctor. She had graduated from high school with honors and was preparing for medical school. Marcus was giving her lessons and guiding her in medical education. "Emma, you are a very smart girl, but remember, the best doctors work with their hearts more than their minds," he would say. Emma replied, "I'm taking you as an example, Uncle Marcus. You not only gave me my life, but also my life purpose." Marcus loved Emma like a daughter because she was the symbol of his second chance, the turning point of his life. Now I ask you, have you ever experienced such a miracle unexpectedly in your life? Have you had someone who supported you when you faced difficulties like Marcus and Jennifer? What was the miraculous moment that gave you a second chance in your life? Share in the comments, because at One Human, One Story, every human story is valuable. Thank you for watching. If this story touched you, please like, subscribe, and share, because real miracle stories and second chances affect everyone. See you in the next video, And remember, sometimes the greatest miracles are hidden in life's most difficult moments.